Hello my friends and welcome. We have some of the good news coming from the Pokrovsk direction. Yeah, Ukrainian front lines. Yes, the military map update that shows more of the blue areas. The Ukrainian army continued to grind Russians down over here, cutting them little by little, their forces. So before the Russian army group in Kucherev Yar was cut from supplies with the swift attack of Ukrainian armed forces, and now Ukraine is cutting the Russian army from Pankivka and Mayak and also Nikhanorivka. So I would say that this group of the Russian army has already been trapped. This connection they have, it's very tiny. And we know that Ukraine controls this entire area with the help of the drones. So then this operation is completed. The next step for Ukrainian army will be the encirclement of the Russian group in Suvorove and also Fedorivka. And Ukraine already works in this area. There is the Ukrainian attack in Novotoretsk and Ruzzian. And this distance is not very long, less than 4 kilometers. So you see how Russians overestimated their abilities to gain the ground with quite poor supplies and logistics they have. As always, it is the huge downside and the biggest problem in the Russian army. So about the frontline changes yesterday, today, so you see that Russians try to regroup, they gain some of the tiny little piece of the ground here. Also, they try to operate in this space, but it doesn't work well. And here's the new territorial gain confirmed by OSINT analytics. And Russians were pushed also over here. The gray area expanded. So Popov Yar, yeah, it's under the big threat for Russia nowadays. But I think after all, Ukraine will concentrate the forces in this part. Nevertheless, Russia tries to do absolutely everything to keep this bridgehead under control. They think that they may expand the territorial gains from it later on. So I just hope that Ukraine will keep the pace in counterattack over here, because Russia may break initiative at any point. They have resources already for it. They're at the final preparation stage to launch the massive attack on Ukrainian positions in Pokrovsk direction. From the information I have, at least the order might be given even this month. The good news that for many days already Russia is unable to move to Mirnograd or Pokrovsk or Konstantinovka. They drop all of the attempts to advance with armored convoy vehicles, because the last week they lost totally 13 of those BMPs and tanks in Mirnograd direction. It was an attempt of the local command to renew those mid-wave or iron mid-wave attacks, with lots of the vehicles. And there was the same attempt done today in Orikhiv direction, where Russia collected the forces in a convoy attempting to advance to Ukrainian positions. They gathered forces further away from the front lines, but Ukrainian drones still managed to reach the Russian convoy. And this is the convoy that was hit. The single drone reached the vehicle, but nevertheless Russians stopped there, watching the firework from their munition. It is the supply convoy, and mainly Russians they attack using infantry forces. Seeing Russian tanks or BMPs on the front lines is kind of the rare event, I would say. But soon we're gonna witness many of them, because as I told you, Russia is getting ready for the major jump, which I think finally will fail. Alright, here you can see the special military operation of the Ukrainian military intelligence. This is the Russian rescue ship that was hit not far away from Novorossiysk. Again, Ukraine uses some of the drones to target radars, I guess, on the top. Well, even though it's the rescue ship, but Russia could have used it for military purposes and for surveillance missions. Drone did its job quite well, but ship was not destroyed or sank down, because those drones, they're relatively small. Nevertheless, captain of the ship was injured or wounded. This is the captain. I already received the information from the Astra channel. His name is Roman Gorshkov. He was evacuated from the ship with the shrapnel wounds to the local hospital. And the ship looks like that. It operates mostly in the Black Sea. In 2024, this ship took part in eliminating fire on one of the oil tankers of the Russian Federation, which was hit also not far away from Novorossiysk. Alright, what we have here are the Russian drones. They place those just on the road, and they wait for Ukrainian vehicles to go through the road, and they fly and they hit the vehicle. But the Ukrainian drone operators saw this trap and decided to get rid of those Russian drones, just kabooming them over here. Boom, and Ukraine uses the similar tactics. I already saw how drones wait for several hours. Russians even use the solar batteries on those drones, so definitely it's the ambushment tactics. Oh, what is this? This is the Kharkiv direction, and Russians again left some of the mines under the bridge. They mined the bridges just in case they need to retreat and not let Ukrainian forces to gain the territories. Yeah, the bridge is completely kaputted. Oh my god. Yeah, actually it happened on the Russian territory. The spot is not that far away from Vovchansk. This is occupied territory of Ukraine, colored in red. Well, it seems like Russia will have some of the issues with supply deliveries in this case. Bad news we have today, guys. Ukraine lost one of the pilots of Sukhoi 27 fighter jet. Well, I don't have lots of the information about the case, but I know that the name of the pilot was Borovik Alexander Mykolaievich. The first name Alexander, he was 30 years old and was piloting Sukhoi 27 somewhere in the southern direction. As you see, Ukraine sometimes loses pilots, airplanes. It happens. It is happening with Soviet-made jets, with Western jets, doesn't matter. Whether his airplane was shut down, whether it was the technical malfunction or pilot error, no specific information is given so far by Ukrainian Air Force Command. But what we know that Ukraine tries to eliminate Russian air defense and radars behind the front lines, especially in the southern direction. Ukraine is very successful. For example, it was the Zoopark system of the Russian army, which was kaputted by Ukraine. Russia absolutely needs that surveillance to spot Ukrainian air targets, including those airplanes. And the less they have those, the better it is for us. Alright, some of the updates on Russian drone attack on Poland, which happened yesterday. Polish officials have decided to close the airspace bordering Ukraine and Belarus. It is roughly 20 kilometers away. Also, Latvia decided to close the part of its airspace. Macron has decided to send 3 of the advanced Rafale fighter jets to Poland. Poland is also looking for extra air defense systems to be delivered to them. And guys, in general, it seems like we need lots of the air defense systems for Poland, for Ukraine, for everyone. It should be #1 priority to produce in the military sector. Right, I'm not good in Polish, but it seems like 40,000 Polish troops could be deployed close to the border of Belarus during the Zapad 2025 military drills organized by Russia and Belarus, or they speak about, yeah, I think it's the Polish army, 40,000, it's quite a lot. Maybe Poland decided to make this move after the drone attack on them. Yeah, now I see Poland sends 40,000 troops to border before Russian military drills. Okay, understandable. And also the agreement was reached between Poland and Ukraine for Ukrainian instructors to train Polish guys to shut down the Russian drones and to operate FPV drones. So now it's like vice versa. Before Ukraine went to some of the Western countries for training, but now Western countries' soldiers require training from Ukraine because Ukraine is the only allied army with actual military experience of the modern-day war. So obviously our NATO friends, they should use this experience in their army. But in general, the situation with this drone attack is still not good for NATO, and Putin, according to Financial Times, he should be pretty much satisfied because Russia found the weak spots in European defense. Europe showed that it's not capable to repel those kind of the attacks. Again, guys, just to remind you, 4 of the 20, at least 20 of the drones were sent, so 4 were shut down with the help of the multi-nation operation using F-35 aircraft. Yeah, most of the drones just landed on themselves, that's it. By the way, one of the drones landed in the Polish military base very far away from the border. Here Financial Times conclude that Putin might escalate even more because of the weak reaction and because NATO for now is not capable to defend its airspace properly. And you know, some of the drones went to Poland not from Ukraine but from Belarus territory. Despite that fact, Trump called to Lukashenko today and he decided to release or lift off, it's better to say, sanctions from Belarus. As an exchange, Lukashenko promised to release some of the political prisoners, the own citizens of Belarus. By the way, not long time ago, one of those prisoners lost his life in Belarus prison. But still, the move of the White House administration is kind of strange, and in general, I would say their reaction is close to zero. I would say Donald Trump is more interested in internal politics and how to fight Democrats, whom he called far lefties. By the way, my friends, I have another channel. It's called Captain Dennis. The link for it is in the video description below. There are not many subscribers, but nevertheless, I post. And there I not only record videos, but I also stream almost every day. Also, I have Twitch platform and Kick, where I also stream every day. So yeah, it's the parallel activity. There I speak about breaking news, so like different stuff. Like for example, today I recorded a video about Charlie Kirk, who was unalived in Utah. Yeah, I also made some posts on Telegram, that's my group, so I try to be active in social media, not just on my YouTube channel, as you see. And this particular channel gives me a platform to speak about everything. So join our small, for now small community, but it will grow, I hope. So yeah, just to tell, there are internal issues in the United States, which takes some of the attention of the White House administration nowadays. But still, I think that reaction on events in Poland should have been more vivid, because Trump shows that he doesn't care really. And actually, it was the biggest attack on territory of NATO, I guess, since NATO was created. Yeah, many drones entered European country, Poland, member of NATO. Alright, White House passes defense policy bill with transgender diversity restrictions. What? Well, the good thing that in this defense bill, Ukraine will also obtain its military support of $400 million, something like that. Yeah, Ukraine will not obtain those money, no, it will obtain military equipment, which worth those money. Good step from the House, of course. Individuals like Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to block this initiative, but nothing happened. No, more than 300 House representatives voted for that one. Awesome. But still, it's far, far, far away from what it was under Joe Biden's administration. Alright guys, and thank you so much for your kind support on Patreon. The link for my Patreon is in the video description just below. You keep me motivated to film more of the videos, so thank you for it so much. And my friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.